So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily MCQ Practice. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs through a set of 4 to 5 MCQs. The purpose of this lecture series is twofold, very simple. Number one, we want you to revise your current affairs. So if you have read 26 September 2024's current affairs, if you have already covered those current affairs, either through newspaper, reading the newspaper, or through our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts, if you have covered those current affairs, well, now is the time to revise those current affairs. Only then you'll be able to consolidate your current affairs and remember them till your examination. So revision is very important, and through this lecture series, we are going to make sure that you remember these current affairs. So you have to revise these current affairs. And what better way to revise current affairs than MCQ practice? Revising these current affairs by practicing MCQs from it. It's the best way. Why it's the best way? It is the best way, especially for your prelims examination, stage 1 of your civil services examination. All right. Now, every day we are going to be covering 4 to 5 MCQs. It might seem a little effort. Okay, it might seem that you're just covering 5 MCQs or 4 MCQs on a daily basis, but these daily MCQ practice, if you follow this lecture series regularly, these 4 to 5 MCQs on a daily basis would add up to 1200 MCQs by the time you're ready for your next year's prelims examination. So start now. Start practicing these MCQs now, because from now on, if you are doing 5 MCQs daily, 4 MCQs daily, you would have covered 1200 MCQs from current affairs alone. I'm not talking about other static subjects like polity, history, geography. For them, for those subjects, we'll have separate lecture series. Just for current affairs, for your prelims examination, this series is of extreme importance. So make sure you make this lecture series a part of your daily routine. All right? Okay then. Enough of the introduction. Let's straight away jump into the lecture. Let's start with question number 1. Consider the following statements regarding Mineral Security Finance Network. It is a US-led pact between 14 countries and European Union. Around 70% of global production of heavy rare earth elements is under Chinese control. Only rare earth elements qualify as critical minerals. Okay. So what is this Mineral Security Finance Network? Basically, maximum or majority of the critical minerals are under Chinese control. Okay, China has a lot of control over the supply of these critical minerals. Now, what are critical minerals? Basically, critical minerals are those minerals which are going to be used in next generation technologies. They are being used in electronics, they are being used in electric vehicles, various other clean energy technologies. So critical minerals like nickel, lithium, cobalt, rare earth elements, they are used in next generation technologies. And if any country wants to have a good access to these critical technologies, if any country wants to have access to these technologies, they need to secure access to these critical minerals. Now, China has a chokehold on the supply of these critical minerals, and that is why, to secure supply of these critical minerals, US and its allies have come out with Mineral Security Finance Network. So Mineral Security Finance Network basically secures the supply chain of these critical minerals. So it is a pact between 14 countries and European Union, and India is a member of this MSFN. Okay, so this part is correct. Around 70% of global production of heavy rare earth elements is under Chinese control. Now listen, critical minerals, though definition of critical minerals varies from nation to nation, but critical minerals are generally nickel, cobalt, lithium, rare earth elements, and many more. Okay. Now, rare earth elements are total 17 in number, and they are divided into two parts: light rare earth elements, heavy rare earth elements. Now, heavy rare earth elements are quite important. They are used in modern electronics. And currently, China has control over 70% of production of heavy rare earth elements. This is also correct. Now, only rare earth elements qualify as critical minerals? No, I've mentioned it to you that the definition of critical minerals changes from country to country, but these are the critical minerals that are qualifying as critical minerals in almost all the countries. And nickel is a critical mineral, cobalt is a critical mineral, lithium is a critical mineral. So it's not that only rare earth elements are critical minerals. Okay, so only two statements are correct. B. Question number 2. Another question on rare earth elements. So consider the following statements regarding rare earth elements. There are 17 non-metallic elements which are categorized as rare earth elements. India has a higher quantity of heavy rare earth elements than light rare earth elements. Which of the above statements are correct? Now, I mentioned it to you before in the previous question that rare earth elements are total 17 in number. Okay, and there are two types of rare earth elements: light rare earth elements, heavy rare earth elements. Right? Now remember, they are 17 in number, so this part is correct. But all rare earth elements are metallic minerals. They're not non-metallic, they are metallic. If you have studied periodic table in your school, you know that all the elements can be categorized into two parts: metallic minerals, non-metallic minerals, or elements, right? So rare earth elements are metallic elements like lanthanum, quandinium, right? Many more. So these are 17 metallic elements which are categorized as rare earth elements. It's not non-metallic. Okay. Now there are two types of rare earth elements: light and heavy. Now India has light rare earth elements in sufficient quantities, but it lacks the availability of heavy rare earth elements. It is heavily dependent on China for the supply of heavy rare earth elements. So India has higher quantities of heavy rare earth elements? No, it has higher quantities of light rare earth elements. So this is also false. Neither. Okay. Question number 3. Which of the following statements is are correct regarding Project Cheetah? It was launched in 2022. It is an international translocation of African cheetahs from Namibia and South Africa to India. Okay. As of now, these translocated cheetahs are kept at Kuno National Park. India has enough chital prey base for the success of Project Cheetah. Okay. So look, cheetahs are of two types: African cheetahs found in Africa and Asiatic cheetahs that were found in the Indian subcontinent. But many years back, Asiatic cheetahs that were found in India, they became extinct. So to reintroduce cheetahs in the Indian subcontinent, India decided to translocate these African cheetahs to India. India had cheetahs, but those were Asiatic cheetahs. But now that there are no cheetahs in the Indian subcontinent, India decided that we should borrow these African cheetahs and introduce them into the Indian ecosystem. Right? For that, we launched Project Cheetah in 2022, and we are going to translocate African cheetahs from two countries, Namibia and South Africa. So this part is correct. These cheetahs were brought. So in total, 20 cheetahs were brought from Namibia and South Africa, and all of them were placed at Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh. So this statement is correct. Now, cheetahs are predators, right? They feed on different animals. Clear? Now, the biggest prey for these cheetahs in India is a type of deer species called chital. And chital is found in MP. Okay? So, for these cheetahs to sustain themselves, you need to have enough chital so that they can feed on these chital populations and survive. Right? Now, it is said that the success of Project Cheetah depends on the availability of chital in India. Right? But right now, chital prey base is not enough to sustain the cheetahs being imported from Africa. So India does not have enough chital prey base for the success of Project Cheetah. So this is false. Okay, 1 and 2 only. Now, one more thing about this Project Cheetah, though initially it was decided that all these cheetahs would be brought into Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh. But now the next batch of cheetahs that are going to come from Namibia and South Africa would be placed in Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary. So as of today, these African cheetahs are either placed in Kuno National Park or Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary, which is also in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so 1 and 2 only. The correct answer to this question is A. Question 4. Consider the following statements regarding Assam Accord. It was signed in 1985 as a result of 6-year-long agitation by all Assam Students' Union. Clause 6 of the accord seeks to protect, preserve, promote Assam's culture and heritage. The ASU agitation was against Bangladeshi immigration into the state of Assam. Okay, which of the above statements is are correct? Now, as you all know that Assam is a border state and it shares its border with Bangladesh. Now, during the 1971 war between India and Pakistan, Back then, Bangladesh was called East Pakistan, right? So 1971 war is also known as Bangladesh Liberation War. So after the war, Bangladesh was born. But because of this Bangladesh Liberation War, the area was quite disturbed. And because of that, various Bangladeshis started migrating into India. And they also migrated to Assam in large numbers. Now, because of this large scale Bangladeshi migration to Assam, Assamese people started feeling that their culture is being undermined. These Bangladeshis are coming to their state and changing the demography of Assam. They felt that their culture is being undermined, new culture is being introduced into Assam. Assam's actual culture is now being suppressed because of the influx of these new people, and they feared that at one point of time in future, sometime in the distant future, the Assamese people felt that in the future they would become the minority and Bangladeshis would become the majority in their own state. And to protest against the Bangladeshi immigration, the All Assam Students Union started heavy protests. They protested for 6 years. After 6 years, they had an accord with Government of India. It was signed between All Assam Students Union and the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. So this resulted in Assam Accord in 1985. This is correct. Now, Clause 6 of this Assam Accord seeks to protect, preserve, and promote Assam's culture and heritage. It says, Clause 6 says, that Indian government or the Indian establishment would actually introduce provisions in our constitution, would introduce laws, would introduce new administrative notification that would protect, preserve, and promote Assam's culture. So this part is also correct. ASU agitation was against Bangladeshi immigration. This is also correct. All statements are correct. All right. Question number 5. Which of the following statements is are correct regarding the philosophy of integral humanism? It was propounded by Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay, who was one of the founding members of Bharatiya Janasangh. It draws from Western philosophical concepts and adapts them to the Indian context. Select the correct option from below. Now look, Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay was an RSS pracharak. Okay? And when Bharatiya Janasangh was formed, he was one of the founding members. Now, Bharatiya Janasangh is actually a predecessor of BJP. So, BJP was actually known as Bharatiya Janasangh back then. And Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay was one of the founding members of, along with Shama Prasad Mukherjee, he was the founding members of Bharatiya Janasangh. So, this is correct. Now, what would be the ideology of Bharatiya Janasangh or BJP? Okay, they had to have an ideology. So, therefore, Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay gave the philosophy of integral humanism. Integral humanism would be the basic idea behind BJP's or BJS's ideology. So he gave the idea of, or the concept of, or the philosophy of integral humanism. This part is correct. Now, what was Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay's view? He said that our new nation, our great nation, needs an Indian ideology. It needs Indian ideas, Indian concepts, Indian philosophies to build the nation. Okay, he was criticizing our then political leaders that the then political leaders of India were borrowing Western philosophies, Western ideas. They were heavily dependent on Western concepts. Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay felt that if you want to rebuild India, it needs to be rebuilt in the image of ancient India. Or it's not ancient India, but the philosophy behind this rebuilding project should be an Indian philosophy, not the Western philosophy. And therefore, he gave the idea of integral humanism. Integral humanism is based on the ancient Indian philosophy. So it draws from Western philosophical concepts? Not at all. It draws from ancient Indian philosophical concepts. Okay, only one. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I hope it has added value to your preparation, though it would add more value if you revise these current affairs through MCQs that we discussed in this lecture. And you can revise these MCQs from our PDF file. This PDF file is provided on our Telegram channel. And the link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below. So all you have to do is click on this link, go to our Telegram channel, download the PDF for not just this lecture, but all the other lectures featuring on our YouTube channel. All right. On that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.